Also tonight, a big win for religious freedom fighters in America. Today, the Trump administration scaled back a key part of Obamacare that insisted that many employers provide coverage for birth control. The move met with widespread praise on the right and a lawsuit from the ACLU. Joining us now, Family Research Council President Tony Perkins, who advised the president on these issues, and Jessica Tarlov, Bustle.com Senior Director of Research and a Fox News contributor. Welcome to both of you. Good to have you here tonight. Tony, let me start with you. Obviously, this is a big win for people from your way of thinking on this and those who want to protect religious freedom.
It's a huge win. This is this day, I think, combined with the DOJ guidance on religious liberty, could be considered as the religious armistice day, the day that the federal government's attack on the little sisters of the poor and the people of faith ceased in this country after 8 years of constant attack by the Obama administration. So this is a significant turn in the approach of our federal government to respecting religious liberty.
So, Jessica, the question comes down to this, should private entities have to cover contraceptive if it goes against their religious beliefs?
Well, if it's in violation of the Equal Protection Clause, which is what the ACLU suit alleges and what I believe, then they absolutely should have to cover it. What the Trump administration has done, though, is actually go beyond what religious freedom fighters usually do, and they've added a clause that you can also reject providing contraception based upon moral conviction. But there is no explanation whatsoever as to what moral conviction means there. We have Tony Perkins here, and maybe he can explain that to me. But what it seems to be is that the Trump administration, just like with the Muslim ban, is going to face a number of lawsuits on this issue, going to have a lot of angry Americans who rely on that health care. There are hundreds of thousands of women who get it through Obamacare, 62 million women nationwide right now who are covered. And there was something else in the guidance that I found interesting. It said that having access to contraception promoted risky sexual behavior. But that has nothing to do with religion. We shouldn't be legislating about what people do in their private time. That is no one's business but their own.
To respond. Tony?
Well, the mandate to begin with had nothing to do with contraceptives. The mandate had to do with subjecting religious beliefs to a government ideology. And look, we're talking about an order, a direction that is in keeping with the Supreme Court's ruling in the Hobby Lobby case, just extending this to nonprofits. It's nonsensical that the Little Sisters of the Poor, a group of Catholic nuns who care for the impoverished, that they would have to provide for contraceptive in their health care. And we're talking about contraception that can act as abortifacients. Look, it's not about cost. If the government really wanted to provide contraception, they could, but they could do it, as the court said, in a way that does not trample upon the religious freedom of Americans and of nonprofit religious organizations.
Yeah, so it's separating the question of whether or not, of how people want to obtain them. Of course, anyone in this country is free to obtain birth control any day of the week. Anybody can do that. The question is whether or not a private corporation or a private entity, Jessica, should be instructed by the government in terms of how they should provide for their employees. So why, in any way, why would you want to step on their right to provide in the way that they choose to do so? That's their right.
Because they're discriminating against women in this case. What Obamacare did is that they made contraceptives part of a woman's right to health care, just like men have their pills and their things that they take.
But this is assuming that you're okay with the government sort of being the instructor and the decider about who gets what in this country.
And obviously I know that Mr. Perkins is not a fan of Obamacare more generally. That's what it comes down to.
That's correct.
Well, we have that.
I don't think we have it because the Senate hasn't acted, but I don't think it's the government's role. I mean, look, drinking wine is actually good for your heart. So should we mandate that the government provide or make employers buy wine for all of their employees because it's good for them? Look, you can have access to this. We're talking about 3 or 4 cappuccinos a month will cover the cost of contraception.
That is unfair. That is unfair to lower and middle income women who rely on getting this as a government subsidy. I would also ask about the conditions that are treated by contraceptives. What about endometriosis? What about that? I mean, birth control is not only just for contraception.
The government can provide it if they feel that this is essential through another means without
forcing the company to do it.
Just like with Planned Parenthood, they say we're going to open up clinics for you, and they don't do it.
You guys, great points on both sides. Thank you very much for being here tonight. Jessica and Tony Perkins, as always, good to have both of you with us.